Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Roslyn Mungo, as I've seen up there. Roslyn is filling my ears. Okay, Roslyn is from the Ministry of Trade, the Department of Entrepreneurship. And yeah, sorted oh, my ears. Okay, from the Ministry of Trade, but the Department of the State Department of Trade, particularly at KIBIT. KIBIT is Kenya Institute of Business Training. Our main agenda in the institute is to help business people get skills to develop their businesses in terms of developing business plans, getting to know how to source their money, like a record keeping system, costing system, marketing systems. So we do it in 3 ways. One is through training, where we sit in class 3 days or 5 days. And the other one is on-site consultancy, especially those who have factories, so that we help you put those systems in place, actually the templates. And if it's marketing, we do it together. But today we are together with the University of Nairobi and the project to bring about information about green financing. Instruments or investments that are there for exchange for delivery of positive environmental impact. If you get money to help you carry out a project that will improve or bring a positive impact on environment, then it is green finance.
Sorry, we have to do a bit of
So as the definition states, when we talk of financing, it's not just money. It is equity, debts, grants, purchase or sales, risk management tools, and other insurance products. So we used to think that getting money is the only way you finance. Sometimes you can get products for sale, or sometimes you can get materials, you kind of borrow, or you're given machinery that can help you bring about environmental impact. So some of the organizations we are going to see at the end of the presentation will not give you physical money, but they will give you the machinery that you can use to improve your, to bring about waste management and all those that we are going to see. And some are insurance. We give insurance. So at the end of the day, they are issued to a company or a person or an agency in exchange for delivery of positive environmental impact. So our main concern is environmental impact. So whether you are starting up the environmental impact activity, or you just using the finance for daily operations, or for expanding what you had started, or for mitigating against risk. You have started, but there are some upcoming risks because of that, and other pre-operational cost. So Some people say we have never started, so we want to start, so you can get those finances. Others, you started, but it is on limited capacity, you can expand. Now, the examples of green businesses are just those. Majorly farm products, foods, landscape design, eco-friendly fashion, green trainers. So anything you're doing a business that doesn't impact negatively is called a green business. And therefore, they can be green financed. But now we are concerned about Horti-Green, mostly horticultural investments. So green investment, therefore, that we are going to look at include biodiversity, protection, waste process, recycling, water sanitation, industrial control pollution, renewable energies, energy efficiencies, among others. So if your project actually is bringing about waste management, water management, industrial control so that your processes are more efficient and less production of bad odor, bad products, then you are part of us. Now, green financing will finance some of these things like waste management opportunities. She had talked about so many, but let's go specific, or most of it will be taught tomorrow. Waste management opportunities in an industry like yours or a company can be conversion of large quantities of waste into biomass. You are peeling potatoes, you have a lot of potato waste and you don't know how to deal with it, it's rotting. Then you can produce fertilizer like she's doing. Yes, out of all those waste. You can also check about energy recovery. The biogas now, biomass, mostly fertilizer, biogas, you know, that will help to produce heat and energy. So that combustion system that otherwise could have used electricity, now you will use your in-house biogas. Others are collection and separation and processing. Things to do with recycling, composting, treatment, landfill, incineration, all those at the end of the day can be funded. More so, we think about preventing food waste. Food waste, the final product, if you are manufacturing food, some people have so many broken pieces. At the end, they are not bad food, but they don't have the shape. You end up throwing away so many kgs as a concern. So if you can find a way of limiting the throwing away of food waste, it will be a concern. Most of the company SMEs have a lot of packaging material. When the products, the bananas, the fruits, the vegetables come in, they come in crates, and sometimes they come in sacks. Now, how many sacks are piled behind your company? How can we do it so that we can reuse the crates or reuse the sacks? If you have such a project, then you are set for green financing. The other is energy efficiency. Where do we come in? Replacement of upgrading of equipment. We have consulted so many companies that are using old equipment. They are consuming a lot of power. So the cost per unit of your product is so expensive, it's so high, you cannot be competitive. So now, if we think, you have thought about changing your coolers, compressors, ventilators, at the end of the day, it might be costly initially, but it will actually save on cost. So the process, the finance to do that is part of green finance. On-site generation of heat and electricity. So most organizations can make their own heat instead of using, what we call it, something to warm the room. Yeah, heaters. So if you can make that heat yourself instead of using power, you'll save a lot. And also refrigeration, the cooling system that actually can just use the weather Maybe you have opened, you have built it in a way air can freely flow inside, so you don't need to use power. Those are energy saving systems. Modernization of lighting. Most companies were built long time ago. They are using bulbs, and they are the old bulbs. I know even in our houses, if you just change the bulbs, energy saving bulb, you will find your company saving a lot. And also, even energy saving, there are those that are sensitive. When people come in, they switch on themselves, and when you go out, they switch off. So most people have never embraced the idea of switching off power. So if you can change your bulb to the sensitive type, then you don't have to remind employees, please switch off power. It will just do that. And then the cleaner material technology systems and product value chain. Trying to use clean technologies will actually be part of the green financing. So you'll see some of the green technologies. Water efficiency opportunities that SMEs can implement include the upgrading of water-intensive equipment, replacement and upgrading of water-intensive equipment. Like which one uses a lot of water? Sometimes it's the pipes with big circumference. So when you are cleaning, the water that comes out is too much. If you just use a smaller one or a spray one, you'll still get the clean material, but with less water being used. Fix visible and hidden leaks and faults. Taps can just leak like 1 per second or after 2 seconds. But imagine if it does that overnight, you will pay a lot of bills that you didn't consume. If only you could audit that and change. Engaging staff on resource efficiency. Actually, it's about a Kaizen mind, a mindset change. When your staff knows that this company is for all of us, I switch off light, I use less water, I do this, it will save all of us. That kind of training is very necessary. Currently, we are doing one with one organization, and the staffs have really transformed. They come in, they clean, they switch off lights, they do things on their own because they have owned it. So it's a training that can be done to change mindset. That's also an investment. Encouraging dry cleaning techniques. Dry cleaning, most of the raw materials you have, be it vegetables, be it fruits, especially the warus, they come with a lot of sand. What if it is brushed first and then we clean it? What if we can dry clean first with brushes before we pour water on it? We'll save a lot of water. Then use water efficient spray heads, we have talked about it. Employ automated cleaning technologies that can easily recycle water. It places water in different places. When the first water is dirty, it can be poured, then the second water becomes the first water. So if that kind of technology can work for you, then you would not have to waste a lot of water. Rain harvesting. I saw one green hotel that has put water collection system, and with their many tanks underground and above ground, the cleaning is done by their own water. So their water bills is very little, 1,000 or 2. Yet in hotels where people are bathing and they were cleaning plates, it used to come like 10,000 and over. And during dry seasons, they even sell the water. So it can be a good system to just collect that water and save it in the month of April and May. Now, how do we identify those potential areas to fund? Because as you have seen, when there's little time you have talked with Madam of KEBS, there's so much to do, Cindy, and so little money. Actually, renewable energy and environment, at the end of the day, you might push it to the end because it's not your main domain. The domain is to cut the warus and package to make the juice and sell. But at the end of the day, doing the number 2 can actually make your sales grow faster and make your internal customer, the employees, more proud to work better. So it is a necessary evil, if you can call it, or a necessary extra source of funds. So to choose which one is appropriate for funding, you can go through that simple process. Number one is mapping your activities. 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can do. Then conducting cost benefits. Which one is more beneficial and which one will bring me little benefits? The benefits can be both financial, can be customer satisfaction, she had explained them, can be employee satisfaction. Others can be meeting government regulation, so you don't have to hide every time you see NEMA people around. So cost benefit, then ranking them. Once you see, you can now rank them in order. Then estimating your funding requirements, then you choose. Now let's see, starting with number one, mapping out. You can have a flow sheet that you can use to map out and to set your figures. Identify the individual processes and areas in organization where waste is occurring, and then you make a note. To make your work easier, you can separate the three parts of manufacturing: the input, the process, and the output. When you separate, it's easier to identify the areas of wastages, the areas of pollution, and then you take note. For example, the inputs that are coming. We've talked about the foods that are coming. Let's take the people who are processing bananas when they arrive. Can you put all of them in the processing system? You find some of them are broken, others have rotten along the way. Cindy, have you ever measured the quantity of the ones you can't use? So we are supposed to get like 2 kgs of bad bananas. Of course, we had paid for them, but now they are bad, isn't it? And then the cost. If 1 kg was costing us 14 bob, then we have only lost 14 times. You still cost it at the cost of purchase. Yes. So when it has come in, you measure the quantity and then you cost. Then you look at the packaging material that has come in. How many kgs? It's better to have 1 unit of measure, as you are going to see. So if you can put all the paper bags, all the crates and measure, the ones you cannot use again, then the cost. So many cutleries that we break each day, the buckets, the spoons. Have you ever identified them and costed? So if you can analyze all those, the water quantities that are lost, the energy, the cleaning material, then you get the total inputs that have become a waste. Then you come to the processing part of the plant. What is it in that area? At the processing part, remember, that's where we emit hot water, or we emit dirty water or oil, or at the end of the day, there's heat being released in the air and noise being released. So at the processing, you assess each processing activity and see how we can eliminate the wastes that are occurring, some of which can be recycled. Then output is the final product. And remember, the cost of this output is now higher than the cost at which you bought it. It has gone through a process and it has consumed power and used water and used human labor. We call them 5 M's. So as long as it has consumed the 5 M's, the cost of it has increased. So the food waste that you cannot actually package and sell, what kgs, what's the cost? Packaging, empty packaging material that has come, they are faulty, how many? Used cooking oil, how many liters? I've seen one company who uses and sells 20 liters at 1,000. Is it a baking company in Kariobangi? So instead of throwing it and it can't be used, they are selling it to the fish fryers. So it is a waste, but to somebody else, it's an input. So if it is still consumable, then you can sell. As long as your product cannot use it, then to you it's a waste. Then used paper towels. So many organizations, the one we were consulting in Japan, they have put a place where those papers in the toilet that has been used for minimal use, not maximum, can be placed and rewinded. And for sure, they are getting people coming for those waste papers. So imagine the ones we have wiped our hands with. The organization that can use that. So you measure Then wastewater, you measure how many liters have been used for cleaning the products, general rubbish, and then the cleaning of packaging. So costing is very important. Mapping continues, produce and resource flow sheet. Use common units and time frame. I've said that. Whether it is a crate or a packaging material or a food, if you decide to use kgs to measure them and cost them appropriately, it's easier to get your total waste cost or total loss that you're making. Then identify the gaps in your data, thinking about how to address them. Kuna zingine, you will find you don't really have a unit measure like we have seen. So others you estimate as you are starting. But as time go by, you'll find a system of measuring even the water that has been used for washing hands in the toilet. Others have measured, like this hotel, I've seen their green hotel, because you put your hands and the water coming out is just enough for your hands. Others, you put your hands, after removing, it is still flowing because of the size of the hose pipe. You will be taught about it. So others, you estimate how many liters are used for washing hands and how we can recycle. Estimate the potential savings with a few of the more promising opportunities that you can reduce. Now, why go all the trouble? Remember, what you cannot measure, you cannot manage. You cannot actually manage what you can't measure. Just like stock, if you don't know how much stock you have, people will just steal from you. So you have to do stock taking. And this one is stock taking of your waste in terms of gas. So it's good to do it. And again, why monitor? The first one is for your own sake. Then the second one is for compliance, cost saving, at least to know how to be more efficient next time and to identify opportunities for improvement. Now prioritizing. How do we prioritize? You have costed, you have seen all of them have a cost, all of them you have gotten quantities, and they all need your attention. So where do you start? The area to start with in your organization are the opportunities that present compliance or health issues. Like when your machines are leaking, so the oil can leak in the final product. Okay. When the water you are using is not good, it has come from somewhere, it's not good, it can pollute the products. So we are told use potable. So at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, if it can cause health hazard, and sometimes people think it's only health hazard to the buyers of your product. No, remember the waste of bad water mixed with oil is going to Athi River for those who live in Mombasa Road. And Athi River, some people used to. So if you're the only one who can stop dirty water to go to Athi Rivers, it will be good. At least they will not have water to water bad vegetables. And you'll really appreciate your effort. So if it is causing health hazard to you, to the community, to the environment, deal with it first. So we are saying quality first at that point. And then the second level of things to think about when you're choosing is that gives you payback. This one to boil something. So when the cost, at least payback is short and it is good, think on it. It can become to be a new product line, and it can also save your bills, save you from big bills. At the same level of opportunity and paybacks, because how much it will pay you back will depend on the cost that you had seen earlier. So if all of them had high cost, but they will not be having all the same cost, like 10,000 each. Utapata some have 20,000, some 10,000 in terms of waste, of input, of processing, of final product. Then sometimes we use the Pareto chart. You build them up so that at the end of the day, you ask yourself, the first three that are actually having 80% of high costs, costing you too much money. Maybe it was the water waste, giving you like 10,000. Then the next electricity waste, giving you like 5,000. So when you add the first three and you find it is 80% of the total cost you're wasting, then those are the first to start with. We use the Pareto because it has ABC analysis. Most critical in the first batch, second critical, second batch, and the third. So the 20%, you again divide into two, so that at least you can understand, this one I'll do later. They are all giving me good payback, but the first three, if I reduce their cost, they will give me higher payback. So at the end of the day, the ones that need high investment cost, like now buying new machinery, so that in the future, near future, you'll be using less power. You can take some time with it, but still you can repair the machines, you can change some parts to at least reduce the consumption of heat and also the leakages that were taking place. So the ones with high opportunity, you budget last. So when you go for financing, they will see you are serious. You have put the high priority first. And now you have known why you really want to invest in the first one. Because sometimes we do the closing of eyes and opening. What do I try to do? I change the bulb. Yet, the one that was critical was the one that was causing people stomachache and pouring oil on food. Now, funding. For each opportunity, it is time to define now, first of all, the technical and economic benefits. You want to estimate the funding requirements. So before that, we look at the technical and economic benefits. Economic in terms of payback period, in terms of return on investment and profit margin, how much, and also technical. Do my workers or the HR I have, do they have the capacity to recycle? Do they have the capacity to do that work? And do I have the machinery or I need to buy? Then time of completion. When I start this objective, I want to carry it out for how long? 6 months, 3 months? Then achievable benefits in terms of cost saving. And lastly, the payback period. So at the end of the day, it's just an action plan we are developing. This one will I start on which date, end in which date, what are my benefits, who will do them, and do they have the know-how? When you are through with all that, then you do your budget. You have actually selected, and in terms of priority, again, you have shown the benefits that you've made your action plan, and then now final budget. When people are budgeting for a new project in their business, they always forget this first part, the pre-operation. They just know I'll buy machine and then I'll be using the waste and process biomass. But before all that, there are some things that need to be put in place. That section where you are doing the other project, it might be part of your farm or it will need to be rented. So those are pre-operational activities. And then the shelves where you will put the new product, the furniture, the tools and equipment that need to be bought, the licenses and the permit, that's an extra product. And are you allowed to do it? If you're doing food, are you allowed to do manure? So, and can you store them in the same place? So you really have to do the pre-operation and put your things in place. And if it's a new product you are produced with waste, you start marketing it. So marketing and advertisement becomes another cost. Then once that is set, you can now do your operational costs, the actual personal expense. If there's need for a new HR, a new person who can do for you biomass or biogas, or fix for you the power system or the layout of your factory so that it enables less waste, then you can employ. And then There are other costs that will come in, like transport, supplies that you need to put in place, and loan repayment. Some of the funds we'll talk about you need to pay back. And every time you take a loan, it has a cost. So that cost become an expense. Now, you check now the fixed capital requirements, then you add all the three to get your total cost. Then you ask yourself, how much do I require in total capitalization? Then you ask, as a company, how much do we have? Because if you borrow even what you have, every borrowed money has a cost. So you will be getting maybe a profit of 20%, and the bank loan was 24%. So whatever you have done has no benefit just because of the borrowing part. So calculate what you have, you can give, your shareholders can give, then you get the required funds. Now, where are these funds? Yeah, that's what you're asking. Rostin, you are talking too much. Tell us where to get the money. That's why we are here. That part, eh? Wapi niende sahi. So there are so many places we can get the funds. Let's start with the general. See, there are some green funds in the bank. But when you go, generally, you don't know there are green funds. They'll give you the expensive one. So you must know which bank has which green fund. Do they fund energy? Do they fund solar? Do they fund recycling? So you get that. Whether it's NGO, government, or like government, where can you get green funding? As in a grant or a loan? Your common knowledge before we go deeper. Who has ever tried to get money to support environmental friendly production? With NEMA? Have you tried? Not really. Any other fund you have heard about? Not yet. Those ones now are so cheap. So you can just get them and put them in the funding part of the environmentally friendly. So they are there, we are going to see. So we identify the institutions that fund, we review their product offering, and then now we choose. Why? Because some are exciting to look at, and they give you very fast. When you apply like youth fund, it takes like a month or 3 or 4. So you are like, gosh, that's too slow. Then you run for the microfinance. Then maybe it is 10% per week and you don't know. So at the end of the day, you are paying twice what you took just because it was given to you quickly. So check the product offering, what it entails. And then check the interest rate, the bank fee, and the insurance part of it. The small parts that banks write that you're not supposed to see. Those are the parts for you to check as a business person. Now, next we are talking about the particular funding organization. There is Cooperative Bank Foundation. The Cooperative Bank Foundation is part of the cooperative bank, but it helps you, the consumers or customers, to transit to a low carbon economy by providing funding for energy efficiency and renewable energy generation project. So if after this class you discover that your organization need to go into energy efficiency, you've been paying too much bills, you're tired of it, or you want to use renewable energy, you want to go to no bill at all, then you can do your budget, take to Cooperative Bank and get that Cooperative Bank Foundation, because otherwise the other cooperative bank will give you with their interest rate. Then the foundation part has a grant. Then there is Equity Bank, which offers entrepreneurs the opportunity to easily access microfinance, because most people have taken it. But there is a part that is for efficient environmental management. So if you do a proposal to Equity that you want to implement a project that is going to save on environment or impact positively, the rates are different. As you have said rightly, there is Kenya Women Microfinance, but their other fund might be expensive, but the renewable fund is good, especially for clean energy, the Jikokoas and the rest. But now, if you are going into solar, into biogas, into safe cooking stoves, they can fund that one. What I've not checked with Kenya Women is their rates, and also if it's a grant or you pay back. I have not checked. So we can all check together. There is MEP that support awareness and adoption of green technologies. Green technology might be broader, but if you approach them, they will tell you to what extent and by how much. Then we have the others, the Faulus, the Critters, all those, they have green finance. We saw one in Embu, inaitwa NEMA. NEMA, the other NEMA. Is it NIMS? They also have green finance, particularly in the Embu area. So whichever locality you have, you know there is also Ministry of Energy. If you approach them with a proposal, they have a funding. Then there's upcoming SME funds through MSEA. You can also approach. They might not be green, but they are cheaper. Cheaper enough, so you can use it to go into the business of funding. Then there's now the Horti-Green funding, of which now you'll fill the forms, and if you are qualified, you can be funded. So later on, you'll be shown how to do it. Now, the idea is, yes, madam. Most of them are grants. So there is initial payback, initial, like the one I know, cooperative, because they want to reach a bigger population. You pay into administration cost. Same to the youth and women fund, things like that. So most of them are grant. That's why they are special to energy. And the organization have been given the funds by government, some of them. So of course they can't run it for free, a small fee. So I might not know the figures at today because my figure might be different. You can approach one. Sasa. Okay. Any other question? If you ask me how long it takes to get, that one I have no answer. But the answer I have is what they will look for. When you go there, sometimes we approach banks with no proper plans. At the end of the day, we really don't have a data. So most SMEs have hidden a lot of financial information, even to themselves. It is so secret that the owner does not know how much they are doing. You might say yes or no, but it's true. When we do the analysis of financial statements of most corporations, they use a formula to hide it. So the MD knows the actual figure, the others don't know. So if the finance person goes with the figures that are printed, it might not paint the right picture. So you can hide so much such that even to your financial, you go with the wrong data. Okay, you might hide to KRA, but don't hide to your financial. All of them are wrong, and anyway. Yeah. Yes, tell me. Yes.
Don't have that.
Most of them
They
don't.
don't have their own in-house data.
Mm-hmm.
They are unable to track down everything that you have complete in-house data.
Yes.
And that is where the problem is.
Yeah.
Because they're not aware, there are things they don't cost. You don't cost my time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't cost, there are things you take as space. So we ignore that, and the only thing your costs are what you bought
Mm-hmm.
and what comes in. So, and because we are not good at data management. I think that's where my MSME saying that they hide the information. I think just that I do not know.
Some don't know, others hide to their spouse, the small ones. Okay, but majority, they say they have, but most of the parts, like she has said, they have not included, particularly the advertisement, the ones that are normally ignored as selling costs. You have gone somewhere to market, the transport, everything you have consumed there normally is ignored. And your time as a salesperson now, not as the manager of the organization. So when you feel you are not doing well in your record keeping, visit Kibit so that we develop a system for you. If you come on your own, there's no charge because that's why we are employed. And there's a team for finance, a team for marketing, a team for quality improvement, the now factory layout and reorganization. So ukijileta, we'll sit and see what you have and how you can change it. We'll analyze your ratios and see where you're missing. So that when you approach a bank and they check your debt equity ratio, they will say you can be bankable, like you said. But sometimes you are bankable, but whatever figures you are put there for training, something negative. So if 10 people applied, you're ignored. And now your project for green finance fails, not because you don't want, but because of the figures you presented. Because bank will look for number one, capacity to pay, and that can only be seen from your data. So remember, record keeping is the most important part of business, and it entails growth and expansion. So you are allowed to visit and do some more on it. Or otherwise, if you are a farmers organization, you call us for training there, then we leave your system. Charges, I think, is 500 per participant once. 3 days you sit there, you learn about record keeping, costing, then we can do a final business plan, then you present. Yes, yes. No, the other logistics are done by government. Yeah. If you're in cost, we'll be funded to come. Yeah. But the number must be like 20 and above for us to move from here to there. Again, every region has our officers. They can reach you from there. As long as you will take my number, I connect you to them. Okay. So we all agree our capacity to pay capability. Sorry, our capabilities will depend on the data we present, and the financial data must be correct. So remember to have 3 data when you are going to those 3 banks or 4 banks to get money. One is the profit and loss account, a simple P&L, and then a balance sheet and cash flow statement. So if you just have P&L, it might not portray your capability. Cash flow will, and the banks will check your cash flow. Then credit history. Most people are now in credit bureau because walifuliza na wakulipa. So try to be, at least have a good credit history because banks are interconnected. And it's good to pay back what you have borrowed so that maybe this grant is also connected to bank. You might have gotten it for free, but because you ulipotea na KCB M-Pesa, now you can't be granted by government. So let's check our pay credit history. Then conditions that will make you qualify. Condition can be the product. Are you dealing in horticulture? Are you in energy? Are you in, so every funding organization, like you had seen earlier, have specific areas. Energy efficiency, others have solar, others waste management. So have the right purpose that they want. And then there's those conditions of interest rate, payback time, check them. If you can meet them, then it's good. Then banks look for character. Sometimes they take time and they're asking, And particularly government organization, when they say they're coming to vet to give you money, they just want to ask questions. And because they don't want to ask you direct, they will ask around. So the groups that disappear with money, companies that seems to be doing things and they are not doing, they will get to know. There are some SMEs that have made 2 products and they go to all exhibitions with the 2. So there's nothing on the ground. So government will come to check if they are to fund you. It's true. Kuna wengine tu wanakuanga na few creeps here and there. So make sure whatever you have is running to get these fundings, because even Horti-Green, we started with many who purported to be doing great processing, but from the vetting, they could not meet the first and the second. At least you are somewhere close. And at the end of the day, you might succeed, isn't it? Yeah, for you to reach. We will see the final one you say today. let's still be at the might. Okay. So character, it means we visit, we talk to your neighbor. Sometimes I went to vet, you are giving trade funds. Then somebody told me, you are looking for so and so. Hey, that one. Amepotea na pesa za group. So how do you add them another grant? Your members hawatapata. Then capital invested. If you want a machine of 20 million and your capital stock is like 500,000, kuna uwezekano utapewa ama utapewa, si ndio? So we have to see uzito wa biashara to know how much you are putting and how much you want. So capital ratio, debt capital ratio will be measured by most of those banks. Now, there's a problem with SME. When they go for funding, they are so scared, they ask the watchman and the secretary, huku kuna pesa. So when you go with that kind of phobia and ask the wrong people, the wrong questions, you might come with a negative answer, which might not be the case. So gather information before even taking your proposal. What is the purpose of business they fund? What are the capacities or the amount, maximum, minimum? What is good to know, so that whatever you are writing is moving towards what they want. So writing blindly is not good. We have websites nowadays. We have customers of those organizations we can ask. So get basic ideas from people, gather information and get the documentations right. Once you get and you do your business proposal well, and you succeed, there is always room for negotiating the conditions. If Corona time they negotiated condition and the payback period was lengthened, so there's always opportunity to negotiate interest, to negotiate your grace period, to negotiate those conditions that the bank has given. You might end up with the best. And then negotiate the collateral. Some might say they want title deed, and you only have insurance certificate, or you just have yourself. So your mouth can actually defend you, or a guarantor who is part of your organization. So collateral can be negotiated. In government sector, some are given, but in private sector, you can negotiate your collateral. Then at the end of the day, get your money and implement your project. So today we will not go deep into how to manage your finance, but there are some organizations that say they don't have money, yet they have a lot. It's only they put it in a leaking super drum. A leaking super drum, that is, they started as a small triangle, they expanded a bit, but now the triangle is shrinking. So if you don't identify the holes of the super drum, where the money has been leaking out, you might say you don't have, or you might borrow and it all disappears. So unless you identify those areas that are making your money not to be retained, you will borrow to do the environmental friendly project and they'll disappear. And some of the leaking areas are the type of products you're selling. There are products you're selling at very low profit margin. So the more you make, the variable cost increases and it now consumes all your profit. So is it the costing area where you have an issue? So you will borrow money, make sure you are doing all those, but still your money disappears. Check that. Others have a money management issue. Poor saving culture. When they have a lot of money, they just do impulse, no reinvestment. Saving means you have put that money away from you. The first thief of business is the SME. As in, not a thief, just taking. The profits you have taken until now, there's no money to buy raw material. There's no money to do. So what we are calling environmental EMS, you can actually use some of the profits that you had saved, your reserves, to reinvest so that you'll invest at no cost. Reinvestment means you are using your saving to do a sub-project that is not your main domain so that it gives you more money to expand your main domain. Are we together? So in which months do we have less sales? When people are broke? January. So let's say it is January and you are selling biomass fertilizers, your main business. Will you sell to a few? Sindio? So what can you do with the sales you made in December? Which project? Others make water. Making water for people, others sell njugu karanga. So it depends on your scale, but somehow it's better to invest that money where it can give birth, so that when you need it, it is not minimal, it is even more because of the reinvestment you made earlier. Banking means every evening you are taking somewhere and saving in a bank, but now this one has ATM. It's different from the savings account where you have no access. So I've seen some businesses, when they want to invest in big machinery, they open target banking account. I've seen it in cooperative, KCB. Then you just give them, and you can't remove it. It's a form of fixed deposit, but the only difference, you are taking it slowly. So that's saving. Others go Chama way. But now that you are a company, Chama somehow gives you headaches. So you have to look for reinvestment opportunities. Then doing the budgets, we have read it earlier. Budget for your food waste and how you're going to reduce them. At the end of the day, it will work on you well. Now, when we are managing money, the first step is to keep records. And I've said, if you have an issue, come we help each other. Then check the 5 C's. Down into the business area, the lockable shelves. As in, we expose our good employees to steal from us. We force them to steal from us because the sales are so exposed there. So they dip their hands, pick 1,000. By evening, you have not known. Tomorrow they dip their hands and pick 20,000. You have not known because there's too much in the cash box and there is no control system in the cash box. So a person comes when they are born again and they leave your company going to hell because you are temptation, to their lives. So we really have to put a simple money management system so that what we will borrow or what we will get will not disappear by having those lockable shelves, good record system, if possible, the register to record the cash register to record your sales properly. Then where we make more mistake is the stock, the final product and also the inputs. So products come, they are piled up, there are no pellets, they rot, and you had borrowed money to do energy saving. Now, most of the money has gone into buying more inputs because they are rotting. So we have to have our layout well so that our resources, when they come, they are well arranged so the rotting rate and the spoilage rate will be smaller. Again, the final products can be stolen. Those who are producing sweets from potatoes, bananas, and whatever. If you don't have a system, people will swallow all the sweets, eat all the tomatoes, and that was part of your purchases. So that's not good. Manage your stock, the dead stocks. There are products you made, and because you package them in too big packets, you didn't segment your market properly, guys cannot afford. They really want to eat it, but it's too big. So when you have such products, remember to break they can come back into the processing. So you break the bulk into kobole, mbao, mbao. The white people have succeeded with smaller volumes, and then they have sold a lot. So check your dead stock. Why are we saying this? Because we borrow finance, but our management system, if it's poor, the system will swallow all the money we have borrowed to develop. So we not put it in the system improvement that we wanted earlier. Then have your, most SMEs, the micro one, we teach the analyze ledger. But the organized one, like your company, now we can have a good, we can give you a template for management system. Then develop boundary between you and your family. Now you have started and people are appreciating you. When you become too generous, they'll eat everything, and when you fail, they will laugh at you. So they'll help you fail it, and then you will be the laughing stock. So boundary between you and business, your family and business, your church and business, your community and business. There are guys who have built houses, but because they are not, what do I say? They are not wise. The bad pastors have made them fail. So we might give you a grant, and then your bad pastor take it away. So as a business person, just know it is the profits. I'm taking 10% to charge, and just know when you are giving, you should not kill your business, because giving is part of the mission, but it should not take all your grants. So when you do all those 4 and plus more, you can be sure that your business will succeed. So those are files we'll expect you to have, and then develop all that so that you can easily manage your business. The analyze ledger I was talking about, it's one book with cash book, purchase book, sales book, credit book, debtors book, and capital. So at the end of the day, it's good. So all those things are many, and we can do them over and over. But you can take that website to learn more. You can come to Kibit, you can learn through website of our institution, through Inuka, SME, through associations. If some of you are in Muse associations, then we have organized free learning for you on all these areas. But now, for you who want to take the green finance, you have to learn more about financial institutions that give money, financial management, and you have to take the first initiative to get your information. So this is an online course that has been developed with an objective to equip you with the knowledge that will help your business grow and access funds from banks. Banks have money. In fact, Kenya, we don't have a problem of access, of availability. We have a problem of access. Yeah, pesa iko. Hata saa hii M-Pesa ikiisha, you can still withdraw. And people borrow a lot to do what? To help others and to consume. If you can borrow that money to do EMS, I think your business will be good. Yeah, thank you. Yes? Yeah. Yeah, the certificate, online programs have online certificates. Yeah. Yeah, Kibit also has certificates. We have certificate of participation. Yeah. If you need more now, you can now go for the diploma one. We are doing diploma. We are, yeah, this one has even the WTO one, if you want even more modern. WTO website has programs with certificates. Yeah. Yes, my dear. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the banks, but mostly if it is a small one, then the youth fund and women fund was meant for startups. Yeah, up to date, it's for startups. That's why it is 50, 100. How much do you? 50 is for starting. So for government, it is WEZO, Youth Fund, and Women Fund, and MSEA. Those are startups. Now, MSEA, Micro and Medium Enterprise Authority. Yeah. So there are startups in that you need to develop a business plan for you don't have a credit history. Business plan will state your mind. It will show what you want to do, how you want to do it, the total cost of that. And more of the business plan should be on the projected, yes, projected records. Yeah, not a lot of words. Most people put so much effort in English. Unless you are being funded in Kisumu, otherwise here we'll fund the financial projections. You see the effect of each activity. That's why I said, if you have an issue with writing a business plan, you can visit our office. You can also organize a business plan training for 3 days, only that. But when you come to our office, we give you the whole process for free. Then you do it yourself. We don't write for people. If we write for you, you pay. Again, banks also want business plans. There's always business plan competition that comes in between Muse and which organization? I've forgotten. But if you submit your business plan to Equity Bank for this project, I think you can get a good result. Others, like for the environment, some people prefer project proposal. A project you want to clean, contribute towards cleaning the environment. So remember, business plan is meant for profitability and benefit of the owner, but project is meant for community. You can visit us for more on how to develop and share. Now the counties, there's another time we are seeing like there's no money, and we wanted to do the water filter containers. So we just wrote a proposal and gave one governor, and he gave us around 300,000 for free. And because we didn't have the actual technology, we employed the young men, and we still got some profit. So there's money in Kenya, at least. The women, the women rep office, there is money in now, the MCAs are going to be given money. So I think even as they do their BBI, we can see where we can eat from and also expand our businesses through those projects. But remember, before you go, do all that we have taught you about and do the number one. Anything in your organization that is causing people harm and you want to eliminate can be a good justification that your organization needs funds. Thank you.
Are we still doing well? Are we learning? Oh, great. So, it starts somewhere. You have somewhere something to prove, and money has issues. It's never easy anyway, especially when you are a startup. We have experienced those challenges, but at least have something to show that I'm doing this. So we are coming towards the end of the session for today, and just a brief session that one of us will talk about the regulatory framework, and then we break for lunch, and then we call it a day. And that will be taken by Linda. She's from University of Nairobi. Just to give us an overview of the same.
I have a question.
Have a presentation for that. Right?
Question?
Yes?
Question.
Okay.
Question, please.
Okay. Yeah, we just need to.
Because you wonder who are these people, we've never heard of them and they're able to afford advertising space on the billboard.
That knowledge, or these are companies. So then told me when some things are being marketed and you don't know them, it's because you're not the target market. The country is big. It's not ladies scaly. Country is big. Imagine we are going now 40 million.
I think we're already 40 million.
So somewhere saying 45 million. So you can imagine.
I have a question.
Some people, with evolution, you don't even know.
Question, please. Question, Isabella. Isabella, I have a question. Excuse me, I have a question, please.
Guess we are not sharing the screen.
Yeah, we share.
Yes, we're sharing. Okay, for one second. Yeah, so we got it. No, we're not supposed to share. We're not supposed to share. I guess is it being shared? Sorry. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Linda Biero from the University of Nairobi, and I'm going to briefly take you through the regulatory framework. If I may ask, when you hear the term regulatory framework, what comes to mind? What do you think of? Yeah, so those are the things that you need to comply so that you don't see those police and inspectors at your door. So for a business to operate, there are those minimum things that they should have. For example, for the basic requirements, we can talk of the business permit for those who are in food production there, public and health license. So aside from that, I'm going to talk about other legal requirements that your business needs to comply to if you don't want to see those inspectors and NEMA or even KEBS at your doorstep. And the three requirements that I'm going to briefly talk about, there's the MCA, there's the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, there's the Water Act, and then there's the Energy Act. So starting with the Constitution of Kenya, we know that it is a right. We all have a right to a clean and healthy environment. So if you look at Section 42 of the Constitution of Kenya, it talks about a right to clean and healthy environment, meaning that if you're there in your company, you're doing your production, and your company activities are impacting on your neighbors or just the environment around, be rest assured that people are going to come after you, that people who are going to lodge complaint, and that's when you're going to see all the enforcement officers knocking at your door. So we need to protect the environment, not just for the sake of the current generation, but also because of the future generations. Then if I go to the Energy Act was recently enacted in 2019. And by doing this, the government of Kenya wanted to consolidate all the energy laws in Kenya. So the Energy Act, where it's going to come into play, for example, there are those MSMEs who are producing energy and they want to supply it to the national grid. They're producing now renewable energy. The Energy Act is very keen on renewable energy. It wants to move away from the fossil fuels. So if you're generating energy, you're definitely going to need a license. So you cannot just generate energy without a license. If you do that, of course, EPRA, which is now concerned with the...
Just to touch short of it, and give you some forms here. If we are taking a few of the photos for the project, so we have to give consent according to EU policy. So kindly sign for us for you to allow us to use your images for the training. That is also required by the donor.
So I was talking about EPRA. EPRA is the Energy, Petroleum and Regulatory Authority. So they're the ones concerned with the enforcement of all the energy regulation in Kenya. So if you're going to generate electricity from solar energy and you want to supply to the national grid, you need to have a license. You need to apply for a permit. And then, of course, you know that for your business to be supplied with energy, you also have to go to KPLC, apply for the state that you want to be supplied with electricity, and it's for production purposes. You don't lie that it's for domestic use, yet it is for production, because even the rates are different. And you need to pay your bills also after being supplied with electricity. Then another relevant legislation that you should know about is the Water Act of 2016. The Water Act is concerned with the protection of water resources in Kenya. So if you want to drill a borehole, you have to go and get a permit. You have to apply for a permit so that you can drill this borehole. And after you drill this borehole and you're now abstracting water from the borehole, you also need to pay for water. For the water that, yes, the borehole is in your property. You can argue that it's in your property, so it's a private property. But all natural resources are vested in the government of Kenya. So yes, it's on your property. You're going to abstract the water, but you need to pay for this. Yes. I'm seeing Juni looking at me in disbelief. Yes, you have to pay for this water. The Water Resources Authority will actually come to your, after you've gone through the process. First, you need to do an EIA, environmental impact assessment, for this borehole to be drilled. And then if the report is favorable that you can go ahead and drill the borehole, then that will be done. And then now you'll get a permit for abstraction. Then on, it's about quarterly, every 3 months, they'll be coming to your facility and they measure with you that this is how much water you abstracted from the borehole. And these are the charges. So you pay accordingly for the water that you abstracted from the borehole. Then another, aside from, I've talked about Water Act, the Energy Act, Constitution of Kenya, and then the Energy Act. So those are the relevant, or rather the most, there's so many legal requirements. So you need to find out which one is applicable to your business, identify all of them, and you ensure that you've complied to all of these legislations. Is there any question? Any question? I'm assuming we are all compliant. We are all okay in our facilities. Yes? Yes, public health, yes. That one is a must, yes. If there's no question, that is the end of my brief presentation on the regulatory framework. Thank you. Yeah, she said she's paying. She's paying for that.
Yeah, but it's a challenge. The challenge is this. This is private communities who are coming together, and that's the days of.
Yeah.
So it has no community access. Apart from the president.
Yes.
It's true it's the river that is done that has an outlet. The saddest part is the enforcement. So I am aware of this. Now many other people
Yes.
so it becomes very unfair that the investment you put into it. Right? And today, if you look at what's happening upstream, so many people are polluting.
Yes.
So as much as you're being made to pay, there is never any stability for a lot of this. It's not your beef. I think I need to put that. I'm more aware of that. But you're having all this. It's more desk officers sitting on the desks rather than being out as soldiers. So the problem is there's so much disconnect between the regulator and the implementer on the ground. Because you see all these things that we have to comply with, we comply. But then there's other bearing and there's somebody sitting behind the desk and not being able to do the constant, all those kind of things. So it really demoralizes. I think a lot of SMEs getting very demoralized because the main is that you do everything right as per the gospel, and KEBS give you a run. You don't sleep because KEBS is breathing down your neck. Then you won't look at the body. And for example, you're processing food in the DGS of DGS, and you're supposed to be completing, and then you're left. Right? So I think even as, and this is feedback for me, even as you sacrifice that, even if you're not able to do a monthly quote, if you do a year, you do a spring check. Me and my daughter are shop. Those weighing scales, and then you guys just used to appear in the shop. I've been doing, of course, you know. So you see, every shopkeeper knew that lazima once a year, lazima utapeleka hii. I think you don't need to motivate people. I think you just need to start doing your spring attacks to see what happens. Because honestly, for me, personally, it's not point having a social education. It really is not. When you compare what is there and where they are, and where you are, you work, how do you do it? So I think we need to start looking at how we really align to our own.
Most of the standards are there for every player in that. Because then you have to compete at the same level. That person in the value who's not following the law, doing things right, cutting corners, yet being the same issue in the market, then they can afford to tell the people who is the same advantage. They will not compete. But the person who's being frustrated the one all all.
I think those need to work when you need to start with people in terms of the dangerous stuff. So even before you certify, I think you need to have a best conversation or something, because there's so much abuse in example. There's too much abuse. And this is just overall. When I see everything today, the shop, you look at it, is you know those things. And when you ask people, how much are you putting? My good God, the ridiculous amounts that you hear your end net one. So I think you need to incorporate it. If I know the vision department, but I think you need to start incorporating, especially for food processing. Safety, what's the safety amount? Right? Because you're doing something. You need to have a conversation with industry, because I think that's where you guys have lost it. Sorry for pointing at KEBS, but I intended to the KEBS as we do.
How will you like the feedback?
Yes. And this is, we always receive that, and we appreciate the feedback, and especially when it's very open and direct to us, because it makes us rethink and find out what is the best way forward. Now, this is how I like to respond. When you look at KEBS as an organization, we are about 1,000 people. And these 1,000 are divided in all those departments I listed for you. So what does that mean? It means that the person that is going to the field to actually do the surveillance are very few. And we are changing our game. And we are saying, the public, the manufacturers, you need to regulate yourself. But for us, that one item that we shall find, that one will be a lesson to everyone. So we are encouraging the public, if you are all our surveillance officers, and we encourage you, when you go to a supermarket, please read labels. Kenyans have just decided not to read anything. Read the label, understand it. Is the food you're buying fit for your consumption? Or if you do not understand, then can somebody interpret? So currently, we are getting a bit of donor funding to reach out to the public, to educate the public. We are getting more funding to educate the manufacturers. You as the producer of this particular product, how does it feel that you are actually putting things that are harmful to health in that product, and you are releasing to millions of people out there to consume? So we really need people to be responsible for what is coming out of their processes, and we need whoever is receiving to be aware of what they should be receiving. And if something is bad, please let's reject it. Let's not just eat it because we do not have enough funds or something like that. Let's just reject whatever that we think is not good for our health. So yes, madam, this has really come to our knowledge, and we are working very hard to see that we can actually get those things controlled in our markets. Yeah.
The thing is that by the time the product is on the shelf in a supermarket, I mean, the innocent consumer, because they're not educated as such, and the systems have been put in place by government or people in authority, whatever structures have been put in place, the assumption that by the time the product is on the shelf, it has been approved by the people who should say that it is eat for consumption.
Yes.
So it is by that confidence and trust, by the way, and all walk into this supermarket and pick all these products from there. And then the next day we find, oh, this is now not fit. Then the guy comes in, then the guy puts a plant in the filter and says, no, it is fit. He's right.
Yes.
And when you talk about a lesson for everyone else, they don't seem to learn, because the same guys keep appearing on the same list of 6 months later, again the product is shows up in the press or on social media, do not take this product because it was found not fit. So the truth is, these manufacturers who we are trusting to self-regulate are not. I ask myself, is it that they do an sample that you will approve and test? Then they go and produce whatever it is that they produce. And of course, the market guy is also not educated. The guy who is receiving the product or listing the product, it has been approved by him. That is the confidence and trust we have.
It's about really the culture, because when you as a person, you have a bad culture, you force the government, now the regulators, to come in and control you. And we are trying to say, please, let's change our culture. And in any society, be it Kenya, be it Europe, be it America, you can never miss such persons. And that's why the government is still there to regulate these processes. But we are saying, can we change our culture? And it is true that we actually ensure that we are controlling what is going to the market. But when we find that after even certification, you find that there are things still you can find in the market, it has made KEBS to expand so rapidly. You cannot believe it. We have had to set up a whole market surveillance department, which was initially only in Nairobi, and they would go out from time to time. Right now, you cannot believe it. We have the market surveillance department situated in all the towns in this country. So you can imagine the amount of taxpayers' money we are using just to surveil on people with bad culture. So that is why the government is further on investing in educating the public, in educating the manufacturers. Let us just ensure that whatever passes through our hands is good for everyone. Yes. Yes.
I mean, but until we get such cases, you're right. You have to invest so heavily on manpower across the country to be watched. And so,
okay.
Yeah, and so perhaps maybe that's the step we need to take so that we can also ensure that everybody chose the line.
Yes.
If it's otherwise, then you're going to have a department of 10 million.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not possible.
Yes. Claire, can you hear me? Please unmute and ask a question.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, please go ahead.
The question was not mine. Mine was just a comment. There's a member who had a question from the online attendees, but I think it came to your attention. It didn't come to your attention. So I was just requesting, at least for tomorrow, let us be able to also give online attendees a chance, because the member kept bringing it to your attention, but it didn't come up clearly.
Okay, have we responded to it?
No.
Okay, please go ahead and ask. I can respond now. Just ask on their behalf. Claire?
Can I ask?
Oh yes, Sarah. Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the question about, you said you have in Kenya Institute of Business something training, you have the marketing department. And I wanted to know whether you can help with the SMEs to do the marketing of our products, and whether you can teach us how we can market our products well. And then also you've talked about donor funding when it comes to, you Joan, you talked about donor funding when it comes to helping the producers or manufacturers on how they can improve the quality of their products. If you were to come for that, how do we pay? Is it free?
Thank you, Sarah, for your question. At KEBS, we have the National Quality Institute that provides education both in system certification and product certification. So if you come directly to our institute, then they may require you to pay some fee, maybe to undertake some training programs. However, when we are coming up with funded projects like this one, then we reach out to SMEs who are available to actually attend. So it's not all the time that we have free programs, but only when we get that facility for funding. But when it's not available, the SMEs are not charged much. You can still go online, look at our programs online, then you can apply, and you indicate you are an SME, they'll be able to give you subsidized costings. Now for the marketing department, this was by Kibit. She has stepped out, but I believe she should be able to respond to that in our meeting tomorrow. Sarah, I hope you'll be available for the meeting tomorrow.
Sure, I'll be available. Thanks.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you, Claire, for bringing that to our attention. We'll ensure that we are following on the charts that are coming up as we proceed with the trainings. Thank you. Any other question?
Oh, sorry, I was muted and I didn't know. So we will. Okay, that we will share the notes with you, and we'll also share tomorrow's presentation because we also have other speakers tomorrow. But today, since you have all the emails, you'll still have the materials with you. And you're welcome at any one point. There is so much we've done. Like tomorrow, if you be in, we'll also give you booklets that can help guide you with all this EMS stuff from energy, water, waste. We didn't carry them today, but they're in the college. So we will share them with you as well. And from there, you get to see where the challenges are, but you're welcome. I guess our contact details are there. You can contact any of us here. And at any one point, don't really hold anything back. We've so far, for those who started with us earlier in 2018, some of them have really advanced from where we found them to where they are now. And you know, it's a journey. Standardization, especially the ISO thing, it's gonna be a journey. Lots of documentation, lots of follow-ups. We're gonna visit you for those who have not been visited at one point in this cycle, and not just once, because we'll be coming maybe for energy audits, water audits, as follow-ups alongside the KEBS. We know we are 3 partners. So maybe you get the university team coming with the knowledge side, KEBS will come to check compliance side. Then we also have the other organization that will come and see how much do you care about your consumers. You know the Eurogap thing, like you follow the standards from up there. Those guys can come up to here and find out, are you guys mistreating the workers who are processing what? Our vegetables, right? So we also want to see how much, besides the processing, you know, money comes. For a businessman, it's always money first, consumer later, this side of the world. But on the other side, you go there, it is the consumer first. That's why even if you mess with the consumer's health, maybe due to lack of compliance, you really pay heavily. Because as you are highlighting, again, I'm also a food safety expert, it's true. We are really misusing like the preservative. I'm a processor myself. I want profits. Today, if I was to make yogurt, I want it to be what? Not to go bad, because refrigeration cost is high. And then you see nowadays every shop having a yogurt, and then you buy and give it to the kids. Yogurt should be natural, should be a probiotic. If there's active cells there, it should be refrigerated. For what? For that culture to survive. But what does a manufacturer do? For one, they substitute the milk with starch, about up to 40%. Okay? And then in a culture, you do what? You put their preservatives without even caring, as long as it kills the culture. And that is what you need. And then you can see your yogurt displayed in the sun, all weather conditions. That's a lie. But again, you know, the systems in Kenya, maybe starts with one person at a time. And once you are a big industry, one day you'll be a big industry. Right now you are an SME, you are feeling the effect. One day you'll be a big industry, you will do the same. Really? Yes, that is the thing. It begins with ethics. If you mind your fellow human being, you know, we usually say in food safety that if you feel confident that your own kids would consume the same food you're preparing for someone else, then that is good enough to go. But here we do what? We do the opposite. A farmer will go use sewage to plant the vegetables for the customer, but but the family atapandiwa kitchen garden, right? Yes, and the pesticides. I've been lucky to work in coffee farms. Coffee farmers are given these chemicals to spray on their coffee. And you know what they do? After they are done, they come and spray the same coffee pesticides on the vegetables, and then they give them to the markets. They don't give to their kids. The most unfortunate thing. Yes, tomato. They harvest fast and then spray them on the ground and then to the market. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it starts with us. And, you know, it is one person at a time. You change the mindset of the other person. If we are to be considerate enough, I guess we can make the change you all desire for, right? So thank you very much for this session, and I guess we'll meet tomorrow. And then I hope to see you in the university, at the university. Tomorrow we start at 8:30. We'll be all set to go early enough, not like today we had the issues of setting up here and there. So I'll not be here tomorrow, but I'll take you through some sessions of the university, the practical. You come and pinpoint out what you'll see as what you're missing and where you think we are strong, okay? Because we are all in this. What we have there is kind of, we call it a pilot plant. It's just for small scale. Like we usually say, there's no need of you saying you are limited by, oh, I need to process milk, but I don't have a pasteurizer. No, we really do it at a very small scale. Like you can take your sufuria and a gas, you have your pasteurized milk, and you make your yogurt, okay? So I hope to see you tomorrow. So for now, let's take a photo session, and then we can break out for lunch. Yeah, thank you very much. And then there was a form that we had to sign for the hotel staff because we are counting. Yes, there is one person. Okay, thank you. Let's just stand out here.